Hello everyone, so in this video, let's talk about the DJI goggles N3 because the leaks are already being updated and so far Jasper Ellens released a new leak. So if you want to see most of his posts, try to follow him in Twitter, or we now call it X. You will see most of the updates that he has with regards to goggles N3. Now, for this video, I'll try to discuss with you the difference between a box-type goggles and a compact goggles just before we go to the leaks. This is a box-type goggles. As you can see, it's really a box. It's really big. So if you put it in your head, see how large it is. This is already a small-sized box-type goggles, but there are bigger than this. This is the goggles 2 of DJI. This is what we call compact goggles. So it's really small. Put it in your head. Really compact. Very light. So if you do a side-by-side of these two, you will see the difference between the size. So with the goggles N3, it is a box-type goggle. So we might expect the size to be similar to the goggles 1. No, goggles V2. I'm already confused on the naming scheme of DJI when it comes to their FPV goggles. It's really big and probably expect it to be somewhat in this size. Now, the difference is in the optics of the box-type goggles and some of the compact goggles that is out in the market. The box-type goggles has one screen, as you can see here. The screen is at the back. You could probably see it in the reflection in there. Okay, so that is the screen. Meanwhile, for the compact type goggles, you will see two diopters here, and there are two screens inside. And when you look into it, you try to mix both of these diopters and the mirror so that you will see only one screen. With a box type goggles, it is immersive, especially during flights. The screen is so big. When I try to fly using a box type goggles, it's quite difficult to see the corners of the screen. And what I like about it is when you put it in your eyes, it is very immersive. It's like you are inside of the drone. Meanwhile, with this one, the screen, the OLED screen, actually is a bit far from the diopters. So it's a bit far from you. So it's like you are in a theater. So you're on top with the box type goggles. You are just right next to the screen. Okay? Meanwhile, if you're using a compact goggles, it's like you are on the top seat. So the screen is quite far from you. I'll try to close the lights so you would see that. Okay, so that is a box type goggles. They can cut down the cost because you only have one screen on the front of your goggles. Because if you are using a compact goggles, you have two OLED screen and two diopters, and it could actually shoot up the cost. Let's go with the leaks. So let's talk about the leaks that has been shown by Jasper Ellens or X27. If you want to follow him in Twitter or X, go check his post. All of our leaks, especially when it comes to DJI, he is usually the best. And this would refer to the goggles N3. It would show the technical specifications of the goggles N3. Now it has a screen size of 3.5 inches. So the resolution would be 1080p. So similar to the goggles N3. The refresh rate would be up to 60 Hertz. So if you are trying to fly in low latency mode, especially with the goggles 2 and the goggles 3, you cannot do so with the goggles N3 because the screen is up to 60 Hertz only. With that low latency mode, you will feel all of the movements of the craft or the drone, and it feels very immersive as well. Doing some manual movements with your drone, or you're trying to do some acrobatics, is really useful. Pupillary distance cannot be adjusted, unlike with the goggles 3 and the goggles 2, wherein you could adjust it using this knob. So with the goggles N3, you cannot do that. On the next one, the diopter adjustment is not supported, but can be used with personal glasses, similar to this Sky Zone Cobra X, such as this one. Then you want to wear your, so you could actually see it fits. Okay, the field of view is 54 degrees. The real view display is not supported. The two cameras with goggles 3, you have these two cameras that you could use to see your surroundings while you are flying the drone. Okay, so it doesn't have that camera. So cut down costs again. Latency. The latency is up to 31 millisecond, 1080p at 100 FPS using the Avata 2. You could actually use 100 FPS, but of course the screen refresh rate is only up to 60 Hz. Immersive flight with a 100 Hz screen, such as this one. It is available with the goggles 2, goggles 3, HD0 goggles, and the goggles X of Walksnail. Transmission distance, you could actually read it from here. 10 kilometers for the Neo, and Avata 2 would be 13 kilometers if in FCC mode. Bitrate, the Neo supports up to 50, and with Avata 2 you could fly up to 60 Mbps. Runtime is up to 2.7 hours, so that is quite long for one sitting flying your drone. Next in his leak, okay, what else did we forgot? Okay, all right. So this would be the description of the goggles M3. It does support the DJI Neo and Avata 2 right off the bat. So we are not yet sure if the O3 Air unit will be compatible. Very similar with the goggles 3. Hopefully they do support the O3 Air unit, but if they do not, let's wait for the O4 Air unit. So if you will be buying the goggles M3 for the O3 Air unit, try to pause a minute. Try not to buy it because of that. As you can see here, it doesn't support the launch. The goggles M3 is an entry-level version of the goggles 3. Do not expect a lot of the features that is in the goggles 3 to be included with the goggles M3. But think about the bare bones of the goggles 3 is put the goggles M3 to have a cheaper version that anyone could buy, especially if you're just starting out with the FPV drone hobby. So if you're starting with the Neo and you don't have a goggles, this might be a good option for you. And the design is really similar with the goggles 1 and goggles V2. It is just streamlined, wherein you only have 2 antenna in the front and probably a built-in antenna inside. According to Jasper as well, he just posted that really we are looking at a November 5 to November 7th release date. If you don't have goggles and you're really eyeing for a very budget-friendly FPV drone goggles that is compatible with the O4 transmission system, you might want to consider the goggles M3. But if you already got the goggles 2 and probably the goggles 3, you might want to wait until everyone has their hands on the goggles M3 before you go and buy it. Because I think the goggles 3 is already has all of the features that you might need. But with this one, if you really need a box type goggles, the goggles M3 might be the one for you. Alright, so we will end the video here. Hope to see you on the next one. Happy flying. Take care.